Chatbots, welcome back to another episode of Chat About Tay. I'm your host, Bella, and in this episode, I'm going to be chatting about the Opalite music video. So, Taylor Swift just released the Opalite music video on Spotify and Apple Music, and we'll get into a little bit later of why she did not release it on YouTube yet. But the music video is absolutely so adorable, and I just wanted to talk about the video and what I think, the Easter eggs that are in there, some of the metaphors, and also what people are saying about it online. So Taylor posted this morning about the music video with an Instagram post with a bunch of different stills from the music video and just shouting out all of the cameos that are in there. So I'm going to read her whole Instagram post. It's a bit long, but I want to read all of it for you. My favorite part about writing is that first spark of an idea. It can happen at any time, for any reason. The idea for the Opalite music video crash landed into my imagination when I was doing promo for The Life of a Showgirl. I was a guest on one of my favorite shows, The Graham Norton Show. For those who are not familiar, it's a UK late night show where Graham Norton, the insanely charismatic and lovable host, invites a random group of actors, entertainers, musicians, etc. to be on his show, and we all sit there and chat like it's a dinner party. They even serve wine. Anyway, I remember thinking I got ridiculously lucky with the group that I was paired with. Cillian Murphy, Domhnall Gleeson, Greta Lee, Jodie Smith, and Lewis Capaldi. All the people whose work I've admired from afar. When we were all talking during the broadcast, Domhnall made a lighthearted joke about wanting to be in one of my music videos. He's Irish, he was joking. Except in that moment during the interview, I was instantly struck with an idea. And so a week later, he received an email script I'd written for the Opalite video where he was playing the starring role. I had this thought that it would be wild if all of our fellow guests on the Graham Norton show that night, including Graham himself, could be a part of it too. Like a school group project for adults, and it isn't mandatory. To my delight, everyone from the show made the effort to time travel back to the 90s with us and help with this video. You might even recognize some familiar faces from the Eras tour. I got to work with one of my favorite people in the world, Graham again, and I had more fun than I ever imagined. Made new friends, metaphors, and fashion choices. It was an absolute thrill to create this story and these characters, shot on film. The Opalite video is out now on Spotify and Apple Music. So yes, basically what happened was when Taylor was promoting The Life of a Showgirl, she was on Graham Norton show with all of those people that she mentioned in her post, and she really wanted Domhnall to be in the video because he said he wanted to be in one. So I think that's really, really cute. It's a really cool idea, and definitely, a little Easter egg, but it's like not really an Easter egg because she like kind of came up with that on the spot. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. So if you don't know, Domhnall Gleeson is best known probably for playing Bill Weasley in Harry Potter. He was also General Hux in the most recent Star Wars films, and I really like him. I think he's a really good actor. I've seen him in a couple of other things. He is in one of my favorite movies with Rachel McAdams. It's called About Time, and it's just one of my favorite movies. Anyway, so I like him a lot. I'm really happy to see him, and then all the other people it's really cool. I've heard that they were all in there as well. So like Taylor mentioned, the music video takes place in the 90s, and it's just really, really cute. I love the cringy fashion, but I just want to go through the music video and tell you guys all about it. So the opening of the music video is basically this little infomercial about Opalite, which is like this spray, kind of like Febreze, that you can spray on your problems or things that are kind of just annoying you, and it will turn them into like your fantasies. So it's this really cute girl. She's, basically has a trash can that is supposed to be, like her boyfriend. And it's just, trash. So she sees the ad for the Opalite and she decides that she's going to get it, and she spritzes it on the trash, and it turns into this wonderful man who loves her. I'm assuming Opalite is supposed to be the greatest, like the happiness, and how you can make that by spritzing the Opalite onto something that's bad and turning into something that's good. So it's just a metaphor. And so then it cuts to, so that's kind of like, it's kind of grainy, like you're watching it on television, and then it cuts to Taylor turning off that TV, and she is sitting on her couch with a rock. It's like this giant rock, and it's supposed to be like her boyfriend. And I think that metaphor there is a rock just sits there, it doesn't do anything, and that's kind of like what that version of like her boyfriend is. It's just somebody who sits around, doesn't do anything, doesn't communicate, can't do anything. It's just sitting there. And so there's montages of her at a playground with The Rock. And then she makes this giant friendship bracelet for The Rock that says friends forever. And then they cut to her getting dressed and she's going out to a bar and she's doing karaoke at the bar. And the song that she's singing is, of course, Opalite. And she puts glitter on herself and on The Rock and she's doing the karaoke. She's trying to make it, sing with her. And then she is at the bar and she orders 2 drinks. This was one of my favorite parts of the video. She orders 2 drinks and she's drinking the one and then she's dumping the other one like on The Rock as if it's drinking. And then they have subtitles on the bottom of the music video throughout. And the bartender says, "Ma'am, please leave," which I think is funny. And then we have a cameo from Greta Lee. She is on MTV playing guitar and singing the song Opalite. So I think like in this universe, maybe that's like her song. And then they cut to an 80s workout video with Taylor doing her aerobics. And the aerobics class is led by Jodie, who's also on the Graham Norton show. And she's doing the aerobics and she's using The Rock to like use the aerobics as if it's like he's like a weight. And then they cut to Domhnall Gleeson, and he is sitting in bed, taking out his contacts, getting ready for bed, and a cactus is next to him. And I thought that this was a really, really cool metaphor. So they have this montage of Domhnall with his cactus, and in every scene, they're out they're out like at a bar, at the mall, doing different things. And every time he interacts with the cactus, he gets pricked and he puts on a bandage. So as the music video goes on and you see all these montages, he gets more and more and more bandages all over him. And I think that is such an amazing metaphor as well, because clearly the metaphor here is that you are with somebody who hurts you. They're constantly hurting you, but you keep staying with them because of whatever reason. So I think that that's an interesting parallel, is that Taylor's boyfriend, quote, quote, The Rock, is just sitting there. It's not doing anything. It's not contributing. It's not loving her back. But then Domhnall's girlfriend, the cactus, keeps hurting him and he stays. So I really, really like that metaphor. And then he walks up to a movie theater counter with the cactus and all the bandages, and the cashier says, "Sir, please leave," which I think is funny. And then there's other montages with him getting hurt, continuing to get more and more bandages. He realizes this is not working anymore. Don't really want to do this. So he calls the hotline and gets himself a bottle of the Opalite spray, as well as Taylor does. And they both open the Opalite and they spritz them. And basically, Taylor switches it on herself and she gets teleported to Domhnall's apartment. And so basically, it's like she spritzed herself. She's, making herself happy. And what happens is she ends up being with Domhnall. And so she lands in his apartment covered in glittery goo, and he washes her off in the bathroom. And they're looking at each other. It's kind of awkward. They're sitting at his table. They don't really know what to do. They don't really know how to interact. And she goes and sits over close to him with a cootie catcher, and she's playing with it. And he's like, "Oh, I love those." So it's kind of like, the weird quirky thing that she was doing with The Rock and he wasn't responding. Domhnall is interested in that and he likes that as well. So they have something in common. They can be kind of quirky together. And then there is this amazing montage, my other favorite part of the video, where they are doing those cringy 90s photo shoots. And basically those photo shoots where it's basically like where the 2 people or 3 people dress in the same outfit and they do a bunch of crazy poses in front of a really hokey backdrop. And Louis Capaldi is the photographer. And it's just hilarious, like cringy poses, photos. It's so funny. And I just absolutely loved it. It was so hilarious. And then Louis Capaldi, the photographer, is like, "I want to be your friend." And they invite him in. And then they do a bunch of ridiculous poses with Louis Capaldi as well. And it's just funny. Like, I just liked it. And then there's a big scene with the 2 of them in the mall and they're holding hands for the first time. They're eating pretzels. They're happy. Then they go over to the giant display of the Opalite spray and they're giving people free samples. And basically what happens is the one guy gets spritzed and he turns into a stapler, which I think is kind of funny. And then they go up to the counter and Domhnall sees from across the way a cactus. And it's blurred out, so it looks like it's giving the middle finger, which I think is kind of funny. And then she sees The Rock with the cactus, and it has a friendship bracelet around its neck that says "fuck you forever," which is also a line from Mad Woman from the Folklore album. So I thought that was kind of funny. And they're like, "Oh my god, our exes are together. This is like creepy." And then they show a giant bad for the Opalite spray, and it is Cillian Murphy. He's giving a thumbs up. And I believe he was also the narrator in the beginning with the infomercial as well, which I think is cool. And then they go over to the Opalite counter and they're like, "Oh my god, they're trying to get away from their exes." And then Graham Norton, who is like the spokesperson at the counter, he tries to spritz them with the Opalite. And they're like, "No, we don't want to be spritzed. We want to stay together." And he tackles the Opalite, and it says Nopalite reverse Opalite. So basically, you have the Opalite that makes your things better, and then you have the reverse. So the person who got their boyfriend turned into the stapler was the reverse, which is extremely toxic. So it's like something that takes away your love. And so he tackles it down. And then they cut to Taylor and Domhnall at a dance competition dressed in matching teal jumpsuits that have sparkles all over them, and they have orange like lines down the side of the suits. And I'm really hoping that they have these as a merch item. I don't know if they will, but it's really funny. They're doing this super cringy dance in front of these judges, and one of the judges is Cam, of course, from the Eras tour. And the dance is just so 90s, so cringy, but they're having like such a good time because they're both cringy and they're both weird, but they mesh well together. They're a couple. They go together. It's just hilarious. And then all of the judges give them zeros, and the last judge to give them a zero is Cam. And so, yeah, it's hilarious. And they hug, and they're just so happy together. They have a little still of the cactus and the rock, so they're exes, and they have a little friendship bracelet around them that says "just married." And it says "rock and cactus married in a small intimate ceremony after meeting through Opalite." And then it says "the stapler is happily single and has been working through its possessive codependent tendencies in therapy." So the stapler, the other person's ex, is working on their issues. And then it cuts and says "trash is still trash." And then at the end, it's the starring screen. So it is literally all the clips of Graham Norton announcing each of the guests on the show when they were there together with Taylor. It says Graham Norton as Nopalite spokesperson, Louis Capaldi as the greatest mall photographer to ever do it, which is obviously a play on the smallest man who ever lived. And then it shows Domhnall Gleeson as Lonely Man. It shows Jodie Turner-Smith as Aerobics Dream Girl, and Greta Lee as Indie Rock Goddess. And then, of course, Cillian Murphy as the Opalite spokesperson and ad voiceover. And then it's a clip of Taylor, of course, is her intro, and it says Taylor Swift, Lonely Woman. And then it cuts to the clip of them on the Graham Norton show talking about Taylor, and Domhnall says, "I would love to be in one of her music videos." And it shows Taylor's like shocked face, and they're all kind of laughing. And that's obviously when she got the idea for him to be in the music video. So that was the entire music video. I really, really loved this video. I got like all the metaphors, and watching it back a second time, I caught some more things. And I just think this was such a funny music video. I saw a couple of people online already talking about it, so we can go into that now. Basically, what I saw so far in this music video at the time of recording has only been out for an hour and a half. So obviously these, this is of the times right now. But the reviews were a little bit mixed of what I've seen. A lot of people like me thought it was really funny. They thought it was cringy in the best way possible, really loved the 90s aesthetic, loved the metaphors. And then a bunch of people were like, "I don't get this. This doesn't make any sense." So I think a lot of people had expectations of what they wanted this music video to be. I kind of had an idea in mind when I listened to the song, and obviously it's not the same concept. But I really liked it. I think a lot of people just don't see the metaphors, or maybe they just don't really understand it, or because they had specific expectations of what they wanted in the video and that didn't come true, then they're not liking it. And then I think also a lot of people really wanted Travis to be in the music video. So I think a lot of people are disappointed. However, Taylor is not obligated to put Travis in any of her music videos, and Travis is not obligated to be in any of the music videos. So yeah, I'm not disappointed that he wasn't in the video or anything. I actually think the video was wonderful. But that's just what some of the fans were saying online. And then the reason why Taylor didn't release this on YouTube yet, I believe it will be on YouTube on Sunday. Thursday of this week. But apparently, YouTube does not count for views for the Billboard Hot 100 or like streams. So she's only putting out the song on Spotify and Apple Music right now so that those streams can count towards the Billboard Hot 100 and the song can go number one or continue to be number one, which is a strategic move. And she's a businesswoman. And people have mixed opinions about that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, some people are think she's playing the system and some people don't have a problem with it. But that's a completely different thing. So I wanted to quickly touch on some of the Easter eggs that people have seen so far. Again, the video has only been out for an hour and a half, and at the time of recording this, and so obviously there's a lot more, but this is just what we have now. One person, Dawn Beth on X, said that the Opalite music video is going to be some riff on Back to the Future with the 80s vibes because there was an ad in, I guess there was like some ads going around in some different countries, and the outfits that they're wearing kind of look like Back to the Future, and apparently that's Travis's favorite movie. And then TS Updating on X posted Dom Hall Gleason on the Graham Norton show saying, "I'm hoping to get into a Taylor Swift music video," and then Taylor's shocked face. So they're just obviously commenting on how that was like foreshadowing. And then the Opalite Life is a Song acoustic version cover has Taylor playing a guitar, and she has a specific guitar strap, and that exact guitar and guitar strap is what we see in the music video with the indie rock goddess on MTV, and YT's version on X pointed that out. Also pointed out the TS13 color, I See You. So she's thinking that the next color is going to be kind of like a sparkly gray because the Taylor's wearing that color nail polish in the video. So she pointed that out. She also, that same person on X, Ali Sheehan, also pointed out the dress that Taylor wears in the one scene looks like the dress that the character in She's All That wears, and that is a very famous 90s movie. Met Midnight on X said, "My brother used to call it eating out of the trash. Hi, Austin." And Austin is actually in the background of the music video, which I did not even catch that. There's a scene where Dom Hall and the Cactus are at a party, and Austin is actually in the back. He's doing a little cameo. So that is it for this episode. I really hope you enjoyed hearing about the Opalite music video and my walkthrough of it and the Easter eggs and all of that. I hope that it inspires you to go watch the Opalite music video. And as always, stay safe, stay classy, and I'll chat again with you soon. Goodbye. This episode, you can find us on Spotify, Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. See you there.